Good afternoon and welcome to today's Tropical Atlantic Marine Weather Briefing. My name is Amanda Reinhardt and I'll be talking about what's currently happening today and what to expect in the upcoming week. So let's take a look at the summary of what to expect this coming week. First, we have an Atlantic Ocean gale warning. Winds are going to be out of the southwest to west, 30 to 40 knots, ahead of a cold front in the central Atlantic. This is going to be north of 29 north and east of 60 west. And this event is ongoing and will end by Monday morning. Next, we have an ongoing Atlantic Ocean swell event. This swell event is bringing seas 13 to 25 feet within west to northwest swell. And this is in the western and central Atlantic, and I'll show you guys what that looks like in the upcoming slides. This event is ongoing through Wednesday morning. And then finally, we have an upcoming Atlantic Ocean swell event. This event will bring seas 12 to 17 feet in north to northwest swell in the central Atlantic. This will begin later Wednesday and continue through Friday. So let's take a look at this morning's surface analysis. As you can see, we've got that cold front I was talking about stretching in the central Atlantic and bringing gale force winds ahead of the front. And the front actually stretches all the way back into the Gulf of Mexico. In addition, we've got a stationary front that's in the central to eastern Atlantic, and then low pressure off of the coast of Colombia, which is pretty typical for this time of year. So let's take a look at the wind and waves in the coming days. First, the cold front that I pointed out in the surface analysis, you can see it here. Moving eastward across the central Atlantic. It's going to be bringing seas 13 to 24 feet. And then that swell is going to extend all the way down into the tropical Atlantic, bringing seas 8 to 10 feet. And then in the Caribbean, we'll see fresh to strong winds in the south central basin with seas 8 to 9 feet. And then we have a new frontal system beginning to form in the Gulf of Mexico, with fresh to strong winds behind that forming cold front, and we'll have seas 8 to 9 feet associated with it. So then by Tuesday, that cold front in the central Atlantic will continue pushing eastward, and then we'll still expect 12 to 17 foot seas associated with it. However, the swell in the tropical Atlantic will begin to subside. We'll also see fresh to strong winds across the central Caribbean with seas 8 to 9 feet, with the highest near the coast of Colombia. And then we've got that cold front another cold front beginning to stretch across the western Atlantic into the Gulf of Mexico. And we'll see fresh to strong winds across most of the Gulf, and then 8 to 9 foot seas behind it. And then on Wednesday, we finally have that main cold front beginning to dissipate, and then the seas, of course, will also begin to subside with 8 to 11 foot seas. And then we have that cold front that I pointed out that was moving across the Gulf and the western Atlantic. That's going to continue pushing eastward. We'll have moderate to fresh winds behind the front in the western Atlantic, and then fresh to locally strong winds in the Gulf of Mexico with some strong winds off of Veracruz, and then you'll see those 8 foot seas behind it. I do want to point out, though, that we do have gale force winds behind this front, and then some swell that's well above 12 feet, and that's going to be our upcoming swell event. So then by Thursday, we do have that cold front that's really beginning to stretch across most of the central Atlantic, and then bringing that next swell event of 12 to 16 foot seas. And then we'll have some lingering 8 to 9 foot seas across the tropical Atlantic, and then we'll have those fresh to strong winds in the central Caribbean with 8 to 9 foot seas across the basin, and then some lingering fresh to strong winds off of Veracruz, and then 8 to 9 foot seas associated with it. And then by Friday, that front will still be stretching across the central Atlantic with 8 to 13 foot seas. And then we'll have some moderate to fresh winds across the Caribbean with 8 foot seas. And then seas will begin to subside across the Gulf with 8 feet. Now, just to wrap up and remind you guys of the hazardous events in the upcoming week, we've got that gale warning in the Central Atlantic ongoing through Monday morning. We have the ongoing Atlantic swell event that will end by Wednesday morning, and then the upcoming Atlantic swell event that will begin on Wednesday and continue through Friday. And that concludes your Tropical Atlantic Marine Weather Briefing. Our next briefing will be Thursday, January 16th by 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Thanks to everybody and have a safe week.